There are reports that say that you have the lowest approval rating of any vice president.
Well, there are polls that also say I have great approval ratings.
Swing voters don't like Harris. How big a drag is Kamala Harris on the ticket?
She's a pretty big drag. I think she was arguably Biden's worst political decision.
They don't like her. There's lots of reasons they don't like her.
Kamala Harris's approval rating is now at 28%, which is an historic low for any modern vice president.
We're hearing it from mainstream media, one outlet after another, one leak after another. That Kamala Harris is the worst vice president ever, the worst politician ever.
We don't see the vice president. What people are saying to me, and I'm sure they're saying it to you, where's the vice president? Some White House officials are feeling that she came off looking unprepared for inevitable questions about when she might visit the southern border.
We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
The point that Lester Holt was making was obvious to anyone else who was watching this interview, which is that the issues at the border are inextricably linked with the portfolio that she's been given.
The border is secure. We have a secure border.
Bidenomics is working.
Prices have gone up. And families and individuals are dealing with the realities of that bread costs more, that gas costs more. And we have to understand what that means. That's about the cost of living going up.
He picked Kamala Harris to be his running mate. She was ranked and is ranked as the most liberal senator in the United States Senate. So he could have gone the other way, but he went to the left.
Joe Biden is running for re-election, and I will be his ticket mate. Full stop. Full stop. That's it.
Full stop. Full stop. Just a little reminder, gang, of how pathetically disastrous this commie Kamala actually is. What a total, and I'm just going to say it. This DNC this week was a total shit show, and everyone saw it. These people were demanding Kamala resign just weeks ago, literally weeks ago. Now they're trying to convince you that she's the second coming, and no one's buying it. But it doesn't even matter, because guess what's dominating the news cycle today? It's not that yawner of a speech last night. It's the media freaking out over the anticipated Robert Kennedy Jr. endorsement, alignment of Donald Trump that promises to roil this election like never before and railroad Kama from ever coming close to the White House. We're going to look at the latest on the reported endorsement in Arizona today. We're going to see what it really means for the November election. We got the polling data. We got the numbers. They're going to blow you away. And we've got yet another election integrity victory in a major swing state, this time coming from the Supreme Court. You're going to absolutely love it.
Hey, gang, with everything going on right now, it's hard to say what could happen or what will happen. And to make matters even worse, we usually don't find out until it's too late. But when it comes to your money, you should understand what's at stake. That's why I partnered with Goldco. Now, you guys know I'm a big fan of hedging future risks with the timeless value of gold and silver. And that's why you've got to click on the link below or go to turleytalkslikesgold.com to get your free gold and silver kit. Gang, it's an amazing free resource that shows you step-by-step how to get into precious metals tax-free and penalty-free, even if your money's still in a retirement account like an IRA or a 401k. And the best part is that you may already qualify to get up to $10,000 in free silver. You've seen the writing on the wall. Click on that link below or go to turleytalkslikesgold.com to get your free gold and silver kit right now, because this is about taking back control of your freedom and your privacy. We can't predict the future, but we can certainly prepare for it. So don't wait. Take action now to defend your freedom, your privacy, and your future. Click on that link below right now.
As you all know by now, it is being widely anticipated, widely reported that Robert Kennedy Jr. will indeed announce the suspension of his campaign today in Arizona as he joins forces with Donald J. Trump to officially endorse him as president of the United States. The Trump campaign has announced that they have a special guest at their rally in Arizona. They're teasing us, just like the Dems tried to do last night with their mystery guest who never showed up. Did you see that? All night last night, they were leading up, all night leading up to that dud of a speech from Kamala, which was pathetic. It was a snoozer. Everybody's admitting it. But it was a perfect end to a dud convention. But the whole thing, it was just leading up to this dud of a speech. But they were saying, in order to get people interested, they were saying, hey, there's a mystery guest coming. And there was some speculation that it was Beyonce. Who cares? There's some speculation that it was Taylor Swift. Who cares? There was even some speculation it was going to be George W. Bush. Don Lemon said that. Don Lemon said, my sources tell me it's going to be George W. Bush, which would have been the greatest gift ever given to Trump, since Bush is probably the least, next to Biden, the least popular president ever. So whoever it was, they never showed up. They never showed up, which is probably what Bill Clinton and Oprah should have done, given all the memes that have been going viral on the internet today, showing pictures of them with Jeffrey Epstein and Harvey Weinstein. But regardless, they never showed up. In fact, Jack Posobiec just tweeted out, Beyonce showed up to the DNC like Tim Walz showed up to Iraq. But anyway, the Trump rally today is promising a special guest in view of Bobby Kennedy's reported endorsement, and I have every confidence that this special guest will show up. We also have official documentation now. We have the official papers. We now know that Robert Kennedy Jr. has, in fact, withdrawn his name from the Arizona ballot. So as of now, in terms of what we definitely know, Bobby Kennedy will not be on the Arizona ballot. It remains to be seen exactly what he plans to do, but pretty much all reports now have confirmed he is going to drop out and he is going to endorse Trump today in Arizona in order to create basically a dream team to crush Kamala in November. Now, why is he doing this? Well, Kennedy has made no secret of his disdain, his utter disgust for the modern day Democrat Party. Obviously, they hate him. They have done everything they possibly can to demonize him, stigmatize him. They have done everything they can to thwart his campaign, to deliberately sabotage his campaign. They rigged the primaries so as to make sure he could not possibly win a single state, particularly New Hampshire, which he had a very good shot of doing. They, in effect, forced him out of the party. And then once he announced his independent bid, virtually all of his campaign money that he raised was tied up in legal bills fighting deliberate Democrat efforts at suing him off the ballots, particularly in the swing states. Here's Bobby Kennedy himself sharing his thoughts about what he now believes the Democrat Party to be.
Really well. I mean, I shouldn't be here right now. The DNC is in Chicago talking about their commitment to voting rights, and meanwhile, they're spending, tens, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars to keep me off the ballot. I was raised in the Democratic Party. My father, Robert Kennedy, my uncle John Kennedy, at a time when the primary thrust of the Democratic Party in that era was to make sure that every American could vote. There were people in our country who were being denied the right to vote, and that every American could vote for the person they wanted. There's 1 million people in this country who signed petitions trying to get me on the ballot. 145,000 at least people here in New York State who say they want to see me on the ballot. Why is the Democratic Party trying to disenfranchise those people? What's happened to the party? I don't think my father would recognize this party, and I don't think my uncle would recognize this party.
That was brilliant. The DNC is talking about voting rights, but they're spending tens of millions of dollars to thwart the Democrat process to keep Kennedy off the ballot. They are a demonic party at this point, just in terms of their ability to lie, to project unto others the very sins they commit. The party that claims that it is the voice of the disenfranchised is doing everything it possibly can to disenfranchise candidates from the democratic process. As Robert said there, the Kennedys, neither John F. Kennedy or his father, Robert Kennedy Sr., would recognize this party. This party has become the party of the establishment, the party of the affluent, of the oligarchy, of the elite, of billionaires and bureaucrats, aligned with a woke fundamentalism that declares as heresy any and all dissent. The Democratic Party does not have a liberal bone in its body the way it did in the 60s. And so we can see why Kennedy would easily be pushed into the arms of Trump. In many ways, the Democratic Party only has itself to blame for what's expected to be this announcement later today. It is, if you don't know, 2 p.m. Eastern time was the latest that I've got there. By the way, that's exactly, in terms of the Democrats only have themselves to blame, that's exactly what Kennedy's VP nominee, Nicole Shanahan, said. Look at this tweet. I mean, and the exchange it got is so fascinating, so revealing. If this doesn't say it all, I don't know what does. So this is from Nicole Shanahan. She is the VP nominee on the RFK ticket. She's the one that basically revealed in that interview a few days back that they were going to drop out and endorse Trump. And this is what she said, quote, "My old Democrat buddies have been flooding me with frantic calls, texts, and emails." So that'll tell you what they really think. They're trying to laugh this off. They're whistling past the graveyard. Oh, this endorsement is going to mean anything. We got the numbers. This is what's really going on behind the scenes. Frantic calls, texts, and emails. Unlike Roe, I don't know who that is, but I wouldn't dream of airing those private conversations publicly. But the message is clear. They are terrified of the idea of our movement joining forces with Donald Trump. When I point out what the Democratic Party and their super PACs have done to sabotage our campaign, their response is always, "But Trump is worse. Orange man bad." Here's an idea. Stop suing us. Let us debate. Quit rigging the media and the polls. It's a simple formula, people. Get with it. In other words, you say Trump is worse, but then you're acting like you're the one suing us. So here's an idea. Just how about faithfully live out the very Democrat principles you claim to uphold and defend, you self-righteous shits? And just to actually prove Nicole Shanahan's point, here was one of the primary responses to her tweet, to that very tweet. This is from Democrat strategist Rachel Bytekofer, however you say her name. I looked her up. She's got over 100,000 followers. She's a player. This is a real response from a Democrat strategist. Here it is. Look at it. Here's an idea, Nicole. Go F yourself. That's the response from the party of tolerance. That's the response of the party of democracy. That's the response of the modern day Democratic Party, the party of billionaires and bureaucrats who burn you as a heretic if you so much as remotely dissent from their woke fundamentalism. Now, obviously, that response is incredibly revealing. It's revealing that inside the Democrat Party, the operatives, the ones who are seeing the internal polls, they know that a Trump-Kennedy alliance is a disaster for November. Jack Posobiec is reporting, and he's not the only one. We have a number of other sources, that there is internal polling inside the Kamala campaign that shows she's taken an absolute nosedive in the swing states during this disaster of a convention. I mean, this convention was the greatest gift Trump could possibly get. We pointed out in our reports this week that the polymarket betting odds actually surged. They took a double-digit swing over to Trump during the very week that Harris was supposed to get a bump. It's frankly unprecedented. We've never seen anything like this. The odds of Harris winning are imploding ever since this circus of a convention started. And apparently there are numerous reports that her internal polling is showing an implosion, particularly in the swing states of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And obviously, I don't think there was anything in that disaster of a speech last night that changed that.